Hello and welcome to our last presentation of the second day during the Blockchain Community Z Days. I'm Jan Mazurek and I will have the privilege to be your host and moderator of today's presentation. The last topic today is Gateway between digital assets and real world, conducted by Novity CTO Konstantin Krasnikov, who will be joined by Novity product owner Denis Savchenko. Denis and Konstantin have inherited the atomized tokenization platform from IBM and brought it to life in Switzerland. Now they are leading the US atomized development at Novity site. We encourage you to actively participate in the Community Z portal and to comment the presentation, as well as use the opportunity to ask questions to our presenters in the Q&A section. The most upvoted questions will be later on asked to our presenters at the end of the presentation. With that said, Konstantin, Denis, welcome to our conference, and the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Let me start. Hello, everyone. My name is Konstantin Krasnikov. I am the CTO of Novity. Novity is a company that created a tokenization platform called Atomize. I also want to introduce our product owner, Denis Savchenko, who has extensive experience not only in tokenization, but also in the financial and investment areas. The platform we have created has already been implemented and is successfully working in a company in one European country. At the moment, we are working with several more companies in the USA and Russia. A detailed story about the platform takes several weeks of full-day cycles of presentations and workshops. In a short time of this presentation, we will only try to touch upon the main aspects that we went through and tell a little about that we have achieved and about where we see to move next. In addition to creating the platform itself, we are also working on its application and researching various cases of tokenization and how the atomized platform can be built into one or another case. Today, Denis will talk about what tokenization is, how we understand it, and what requirements we set for the platform when we created it. In addition, Denis will touch on cases that have been either already worked out and are working or are good examples of tokenization. I will talk about what the platform consists of and how we see its further development. Let's go. Denis, could you please?
Yeah, next slide, please. And I'll start with tokenization and basically what's the business use case of tokenization, and later touch.
Also using the opportunity, just Konstantin, one kind regard to a reminder to turn on your camera throughout the presentation. It would be greatly appreciated for our participants to see you in this video conference.
Yeah, I'm working with laptop's battery, and it's because I have broken electricity in the office right now due to.
Oh, okay. No worries. No worries.
Thank you.
Okay, so what is tokenization? What do we use it for? So tokenization leverages blockchain technology to create a digital representation of real assets. So we distinguish between an issuer or a tokenizer who provides physical collateral or service or some asset which is tokenized, and other participants that can buy those tokens, be token holders. So tokenized assets are issued and could be issued to either several parties or to one issuer or tokenizer who provides the physical asset. And these assets can be traded. So we have primary market deals, which are with when one party is a tokenizer or an issuer, and another party is a participant of the platform. And secondary market deals, where participants of the platform can exchange tokens between each other. And So it's based on cryptography and then blockchain technology, and ensures the transfer of ownership, and that we always have an immutable registry of all the transactions, and so we can always prove that the participant has rights for the particular physical asset or a part of it, and we'll discuss fractional tokens later. So also our platform allows to build any programmable logic in the chain code or smart contracts, which runs on the blockchain peers. And that could be a complex logic of issuance or trading or something else, or even some proofs can be stored on chain for the tokens, for real assets. Basically, there are two types of tokens, which are fungible and non-fungible. So fungible can be interchanged. So it's something like a pool of assets which are equivalent to each other. But non-fungible tokens are something unique, like NFTs, which are in trend right now also. So there are tokenization relies on gateways to real world. So we are using gateways to metal custody facilities and to banks, and to ensure that we have transparent and auditable blockchain. And also blockchain allows us to use governance functions. So let's continue to the next slide. So for fungible assets, we can use any kind of real asset. It could be commodity that we will be talking later about. It could be services, some financial instrument, like account receivables, or it could be some property, or even like central banks are using and now envision usage of tokens for digital currencies. And so there is a real asset and a tokenized asset, which is built on the blockchain, which is chain code. And for fungible tokens, we split this into like atomic parts, and each atomic part is has an owner, and it can be traded, can be exchanged, and also we always know which token is allocated to which part of real asset. So what it allows us, so we are when you're buying a tokenized asset, you're not buying something which is just linked to an asset. It's you're buying part of that asset, so you receive for rights for that property. And what DLT allows us is it facilitates transactions between the customers. So you're not you can use like direct trades and RFQs that we'll be touching later. So it's not limited to just trading with a tokenizer. It's create a secondary market for a wide range of real assets, such as, for example, commodities that we'll be discussing on the next slide. Yeah, so also what I would like to mention there, that we have integrations with web applications and mobile applications, and there is a possibility to integrate the ledger, the chain code with a wide range of applications. So we are building an open ecosystem, but Konstantin will share some insights later. So let's continue with the next slide. So what benefits does tokenization give us? So we can split asset to like virtual shares to tokens. So for example, if there is if asset is expensive or big, or it can be split to smaller pieces, and each will be represented by tokens. So as a participant of the platform, you can be exposed to, for example, precious metals trading, and to hold a part of a real bar, not just something virtual. And we have a single platform that allows us to use different kinds of tokens. So it's and it has open access to different wide, like we are not targeting just, for example, institutions. There are private persons can join the platform and have access to trading assets that they were not able to trade before. And so it's built on blockchain, so it provides us transparency, audit, and privacy, and has built-in functions for trading, for participant-to-participant trading, and for trading with tokenizer. And all the business logic can be implemented in the chain code in smart contract. So it's auditable, it's reviewed, it's accessible to platform participants, so they can. So it ensures that their funds are safe and they understand how business logic works. And we comply with regulatory authorities, with requirements of regulations of different countries. For European country, Konstantin mentioned before, and for US. So we have, there are different requirements. So each platform is tied to specific requirements of the country, but we'll also mention ecosystem later. So it works as a single, as a whole, as a single big platform. It's not just separate implementations for each country. And so we leverage, as we mentioned, blockchain for ensuring immutability of transactions, voting, balances, and so on. There are possible extensions. So like decentralized autonomous organization can be implemented on top of the blockchain. And also, so we are reducing costs. We have implementation of DID and SSI, and also about we have native implementation of digital national digital currencies like CBDC, and the main advantage is the ability to trade assets and without moving real assets. So you don't need to move metal bars to pay for storage when you just trade tokens. So that's it for benefits. Let's continue to the next slide. So we will discuss three cases, like fractional ABT for precious metal, tokenization of real estate, and tokenization of services. So next slide, please. So let's start with fractional ABT, asset-backed token. So we have tokenizer supplies metal to the vault to atomized vault, and we are like the facility ensures that the metal is shipped, that the metal complies with the requirements, that it has defined, that it has the defined fineness, weight, and all the parameters of the bars. And so as soon as the bars are shipped to the wallet, and the tokens are issued. So tokens are backed with the physical. It could be gold, palladium, platinum, and we are going to extend to a wide range of products. And each token is equivalent to 1 ounce of, for that case, it's gold. And also it works for palladium. So there are 2 basically tokens, one for gold, one for palladium. And so these tokens are fungible, and so those tokens can be traded and exchanged, and each token corresponds to a particular bar. So for example, in that case, there are 3 participants owning some amount of ABTs, and we always know to which bars are those tokens allocated. So audit ensures that total weight in the wallet is equivalent to a total supply of the tokens, and we ensure that as soon as metal arrives to the wallet, tokens are minted, and as soon as metal leaves the wallet, tokens are burned. So it's auditable, and it's transfer of ownership of the particular piece of a metal bar, not of the something virtual, but it represents like physical asset. So let's continue with the next slide. That's about like what's the process of tokenization. So first of all, we need to create a new smart contract. So we receive specifications of the token, of the metal, of the token contract we are going to deploy, and then the dev team develops it, provides it, and deploys on chain. And each tokenization process has several steps. The main steps are listed there. So first, there should be request, and all the specifications, list of bars, and all the certificates are provided on that step. And then the metal is sent to, it could be delivered from, for example, it could be in the same facility and delivered just from one cage and wallet to another cage, or could be in a different facility, and there would be a shipment request for that. So the metal is delivered to the wallet, and after that, we check that it complies with the parameters that were specified by issuer. So there are they have exact weight, fineness, and so on, and certificates of origin. So it couldn't be like just it should be verified. And after that, so we get the confirmation from the wallet, and we confirm the tokenization request. And so the tokens are minted, and issuer gets tokens. So issuer cannot have tokens and the metal at the same time. He loses control over the metal, but gets tokens, which can be sold on the platform. And platform participants can acquire it from issuer or from other participants using RFQ or direct trade, and also we have streaming functionality for secondary market trading. All trades happen with on-platform settlement. So we have integration with bank, and fiat transactions happen on-chain. So we can ensure delivery versus payment. So there is no counterparty risk in that trades. Let's continue to the next slide. So the next slide is about what happens when someone wants to redeem token and get physical assets. So as I mentioned before, the token holder can redeem tokens. So tokens are always allocated to bars, and bars can have different weight, but usually have some weight like a bit more, a bit less than predefined values. So for example, there could be 10 ounce bars or 100 ounce bars, but those would be rather 99 or 101 or something like that. And if the participant has enough tokens to get a single bar or multiple bars, he or she can post a request for redemption. And as we discussed before, so tokens could be allocated to different bars, but the tokens are fungible, so we can reallocate at the moment of redemption. So when we process redemption requests, tokens can be interchanged. So one, for example, if participant had tokens spread across different bars, all these tokens are swapped to a single bar, and then the participant can receive this bar and burn the amount of tokens which represent this bar. So it happens through a redemption request. Also, fees should be paid because redemption means that metal leaves the wallet and is moved, and so there are fees, and also fees for processing request. And after the participant accepts the quote, then the shipping takes place. Metal leaves the vault. At the moment the metal leaves the vault, the total supply of the token is decreased, and so tokens are burned. So we ensure that all the time, anytime you check it, total weight will be equal to total supply of token. So that's the concept of fractional token. Okay, next slide, please. So there are different cases. For example, there is case of tokenization of real estate, which is being investigated, and which will provide exposure to real estate to like wide range of investors. So even smaller investors, like you can buy tokens which represent the real estate, some the apartments or commercial real estate, even having a small amount of funds. So, and also it's an additional source of funding for development companies. As we mentioned before, the process is the same. So there for a fungible token, there should be some pool of real estate. So it should be a pool of equal or close to equal objects, because if those are different, then the questions of redemption would be raised, and there would be a question if someone wants to redeem tokens and get like better options of real estate. So for that, to solve that case, we are if you want to build fungible tokens, so all the assets should be equivalent or almost equivalent. So what we can do there, we can mint tokens and use wide range of primary and secondary market trading features to sell those tokens and to allow participants to trade between each other. We provide settlement function, we provide fiat payments, so eliminating the counterparty risk, and also like token holders have two ways back. So they can either sell it back to the issuer with a premium after, for example, several months or a year, or can redeem tokens and receive physical property for that tokens if they have enough tokens to get the whole lot. And so there are different cases for both fungible and non-fungible tokens. When there is something unique, it would be a non-fungible token. And we are investigating that option. And also another, so next slide, please. Another case is tokenization of services. For example, a company could book an airline ticket or a container shipment from point A to point B, and for that service, the chain code is deployed, the smart contract is created, and those obligations are supplied. And so then the tokens are minted. And so by owning tokens, the participant has an option to use this service, and he could either use this option and like ship goods from one city to another, or if the participant has access, for example, he could buy more tokens and book more services then, and later on find out that he needs less, or vice versa. He could have an extra need in shipping something. And in that case, participants can trade and sell those tokens at a premium or at a discount, and it allows the service company to sell more services upfront, and the companies that use services to have more flexibility in buying or selling additional amount of services. And that could be extended to like any case, like any kind of service or shipment. But for that, we would need to create a token specification for each service. So the process in general is the same. So we get ensure that collateral is there, then mint tokens, and then participant buy tokens from issuer and have an option to trade with each other. And owner of the token is eligible to get the service. So, for example, it could be participant A buying the token, and then participant B buying from participant A, and participant B receiving the service. So that's it for tokenization services. Next slide, please. So that's Konstantin, floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Dennis, for your part regarding tokenization and cases. I'm taking over the microphone and will cover topics related mostly to the atomized platform. I have to say that before creating the tokenization platform and the atomized protocol as a central component of this platform, we looked at the current implementation that already existed at the time, and we conducted tests and research trying to implement the most interesting tokenization cases. We realized that the technical requirements for the requested tokenization cases didn't allow the use of existing implementation of blockchain protocols. As a result, the following vision for tokenization protocol and platform was formulated. The first one, public blockchain. As a result, we believe that as a result, a public blockchain network should be created. We believe that only public networks have meaning in the future. We don't yet know for sure, but most likely the market of validators is being created here, and now and in the near future it will be a separate category of we can call it electronic notarious, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Also, considering the fact that the network will be public and the BFT consensus was chosen. The next is open source code. And this is a mandatory requirement, not only for blockchain protocols, but in general for any project that must operate in a public network. Only through the transparency and availability of the source code can the popularization of the protocol and its dissemination of its practical application be achieved. In addition, the openness of the code allows us to expand the development team and improve the quality of the code base. The next, easy of use. And here I can say that we make a product for the end user. And this end user doesn't have to understand the complexities of cryptography. For example, he does not have to worry about the safety of keys. There should be a clear key recovery procedure. When we implement a business case on the platform, we must also consider the situations that we are working with a regular user, and we must remove all technical features from the user path, user flow, while retaining the advantages of tokenization and blockchain technologies. Yeah, we are far from perfect now, but we are working on it. The next one is easy of connection, configuration, maintenance, and support. When we talk about a public network, we mean the inclusion of validators in the process of processing transaction and generating blocks. And here we also have to take care of convenience of connection, configuration, and maintenance. It should be as simple and understandable as possible. The next one, manageable privacy and anonymity. When we talk about the implementation of practical cases from several sectors of the economy or public administration or something like this, then we must follow certain requirements of the policy, legislation, law, and so on. And this is a completely opposite to the cryptocurrency model. Their anonymity is put on one of the first places. On the other hand, legislation also requires the processing and storage of personal data very carefully. And we understand it. And in addition, data on transactions, as well as other sensitive information, should be hidden from third parties. And it should be made available only by a court decision or in accordance with other legal requirements. Therefore, we must ensure these requirements at the level of the atomized protocol. And this is really a very difficult task. The next one, trading opportunities. Together with the protocol, we also provide a set of additional add-ons and functionalities that, in our opinion, should already be included in the delivery of the atomized platform and the atomized protocol. One of the most important elements of this functionality is trading functionality. And after all, if you if you model the life cycle of almost any token, then there will most likely be the functionality of its circulation among the participants in the process. And when we talked with representatives of the financial infrastructure and discussed the tokenization of financial instruments, The second question after the token model was about the possibility of performing auctions among the participants. And it is also very difficult task because we need to we need to involve all these parties and all these requirements. The next one is readiness for interoperability or interoperability. We shouldn't require users to use our visual interfaces. We need to expand adoption, and we choose a mass adoption approach. And to expand adoption, we must enable users to use existing application that they are more familiar with. Digital assets and operation with them, including trading functions, should be easily integrated into existing applications. In addition, if we talk about complex project, for example, the infrastructure for issuing and performing the circulation of national digital currency, then for these tasks, the list of systems for integration is much wider. Don't forget about classics. When designing the architecture of solution and performing work on integration, on integrating tokenization solution into real business cases, we must considering that existing systems, approaches, and models will still exist and will work for some time. And we cannot either cancel them or pass them by. Therefore, tokenization projects must be built considering this existing landscape, systems, and approaches. For example, accounting system. I like this topic because a lot of work here. They are a mandatory component of any enterprise, and we must offer a mechanism for transferring transaction from the blockchain to the accounting system. And we need this way, this approach, we must create on the easiest way. We must save our time, save our costs, and it is also not so easy to do. This diagram shows a set of components of the Atomized platform. Here you can see all the layers and those that are represented at the blockchain level and those that are on the application layer. And as you can see, there are a large number of components that are needed just for integration with the ordinary real world and familiar. And we need to define the whole list of application in each case. We also indicated on the diagram the components that are necessary to ensure the operation of the system in industrial cases and to provide connection with real life, to prove evidence, and so on. The experience received from launching into production use of atomized tokenization platform has shown additional complexity. In such projects where new technologies are used that are not fully tested in close integration with other systems and services, an additional R&D stream appears, and we need to achieve success on the stream. Absolutely. The set of components is not final. For example, when discussing CBDC projects, additional set of components is added to work with RTG, real-time gross settlement system, for example, and so on. The next topic is interoperability, and interoperability is one of the most important topics in blockchain protocols. Any such system, when implemented in the real world, requires the ability to integrate with various other systems, from accounting systems and financial institutions to integration with other cryptocurrency and blockchain protocols. And for example, KYC, when we need to put whitelist, when we need to implement whitelist, blacklist, gray list in blockchain also. Having successful experience in launching productive projects based on the atomized protocol, we can talk about 10 till 15 systems and services with which it is necessary to integrate the atomized blockchain protocol and the developed tokenization application. Moreover, some of the systems and services must work directly with the atomized protocol through the SDK, and some through especially developed integration layers and microservices in the backend of the tokenization application. We must also considering that the database used in the blockchain is a key-value database, and for many external integrated systems, a relational database is needed, and we also need to do something with it. Therefore, the task of architecture design arises here, and we consider where we consider the database in the blockchain is a transactional database, and the intermediate database as an analytical one. And it is in it that the enrichment and mapping and joining the data from other systems takes place. And for example, we already integrated 3 sources into one, and it was not so easy to. But it was only for the first phase of integration. We must also consider that the fact that with large amounts of data, we usually need to have an analytical caching layer in which the calculation of aggregates will take place for use in the tokenization application itself and in all other applications where information is required. For example, accounting system, or when we need to show balances, actual balances in wallet application or something like this. We also created several intermediate services for integration with financial institutions, payment service, and identification services. This is also a step towards interoperability. The result is an intermediate layer of services that can work with the atomized protocol and also contain a ready-made model for the required subject area, as well as set of methods for working with this model. And this allows us to be flexible in the choice of external service and providers, as well as to speed up the connection of new providers and services. Also, the main topic for such classes of systems is oracles. Oracles are data sources that can affect the logic of smart contracts. It is important to have data control points here, and this is also a place where the real and digital worlds connect. And here we must be ready to integrate with any data source. Also, another important part is integration and support and providing interoperability with other blockchain protocols. And here we also did some work, but we see a large scope of work for the near future on creating bridges to other protocols that support tokenization and maybe something else we will see in near future. Everything about interoperability always takes a lot of resources and time, and it is always like blue and sweet. And we already pass good way on this topic. And we also can share our experience and always ready for discussion on this topic on the most detailed level. And the final slide is about ecosystem. We have chosen the path of an open DLT protocol and public blockchain, which means that it is very important for us to develop an ecosystem around it. And we believe that the protocol should constantly change and accumulate new functions and constantly adapt to rapidly changing market demands. And what is ecosystem for us? Ecosystem for us is the following: open source protocol, a community of developers suggesting changes and improvements to the protocol, libraries, packages, and SDKs, gateways and integration layers, wallets and custody services, trading platforms, oracles, testnet also must be created, sandboxes, instructions, guides, and training materials, and also integration with identification service. And we already have experience in the practical application of the protocol, building and launching applications based on it, integrating this application and the protocol with various systems and services. But we see a much greater potential in the mass adoption and believe that in the future there will be many more successful cases of blockchain technology application, much closer to solving practical and useful cases. Therefore, we are open to communication, discussion, and test integrations. To do this, we will soon launch a sandbox or sandboxes, and we will be very happy to try different cases. We will also be happy to share our experience in current project implementation and further project implementation. And I think that first release of sandbox will be released in August or in September this year. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Konstantin, for sharing the presentation with us, and Denis as well for sharing this topic. We do have some questions raised by our audience in the Community Z portal. So if that's okay with you, I would like you to answer a couple of questions from our audience. And the first question comes from Daniel, who is asking, is there a physical permanent stamp on the gold bar itself, which matches an attribute on the non-fungible token on the atomized platform?
Thank you for that question. So we are not talking about that's a fungible token. It's not a non-fungible token. So basically, from that perspective, it's not a token attribute, but it's more like there. For example, if you see if you take a look at the issuance, at the whole issuance, there is a list of bars. and the tokens are allocated to those bars. So yes, we store the evidence of the number of the serial number of the bar, but it's not like a attribute of non-fungible token. It's an allocation of fungible tokens to physical bars. So we also store not just the amount of tokens each participant has, but also the allocation to real bars, which have identifiers, which are based not only on serial number, but on also different attributes, such as who is the refiner, where is this bar located, and several other attributes. And so there is a way to, on the platform, you could find out which bar are your tokens allocated. But there could be, for example, if you hold 10 tokens, those tokens can be in the single bar or spread across multiple bars.
Okay, thank you so much. Another question from our audience is the platform capable to do trading, probably through API or something towards trading enablement?
Yeah, it's capable of doing trading. Now it's more of OTC functions. So it's RFQ, it's direct trade, and we are building integration with the machine engine to provide limit order trading. So for now, it's for mostly for larger deals, which are direct trades between participants and or trades with the tokenizer. But later on, we are looking forward to integrate machine engine.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and also have to add that fixed API also will be added next year, at the beginning of next year.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Konstantin, for adding this to the new sensor. Another question from our audience. How does Atomize sit from a legal perspective? Does ownership of token equal legally recognized ownership? Or if not, could it happen one day in the future?
Yeah, we're working with the legal team in Switzerland with FINMA regulations, and holding a token ensures that you're owner of the metal. So but we are working towards creating an opportunity to directly access storage facility and request metal bars from it, but now it's done through Atomize platform. But token itself represents ownership of real asset.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And I also have to add,
of course, Konstantin, yes,
yeah,
by all means.
Responsibility of on the storage party of keeping asset in safe place and caring about keeping this asset in constant state.
Mm-hmm. And another question from our audience. Are any public agencies interested in using Atomize for house or property tokenization?
Good question.
Yeah.
Now we're investigating this topic, so it's more of proof of concept right now. Konstantin.
Yeah. I have to add that several cases we are investigating right now, but we cannot talk on detailed level right now because it is on under NDA. But I have to say that several cases. Yes, we are working now on several cases.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. And last question that we have also here for your presentation today is: do DAOs legalized as legal entity organizations type somewhere in developed countries? And DAO, as I understand, is the decentralized autonomous organizations.
That's a tricky question. You know that the blockchain itself is not like legalized everywhere, and like decentralized organizations are just, in our opinion, it's not replacing the organization itself. It's providing extra features to existing companies. Like when the token holders have representation, you have votes and can vote on different decisions. So it's not replacing the company itself. It's a governance feature for a company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can say I can add something. Let's imagine the country. In this country, we have government, we have central bank, we have agency for financial regulations, we have agency for internal affairs, and so on. And all these parties can participate in the decentralized autonomous organization, and we also working on this model, and but we need additional time to continue this research, to continue this modeling. But I think in maybe next year we will receive something for real implementation of the decentralized autonomous organization approach implemented on the country, on the national level of country, which I cannot name right now.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. I understand the non-disclosure agreement, so we do understand that. That is the last question that we had today to your presentation. So let me thank you greatly for sharing with us this presentation today. Thank you for everyone who decided to join us online and to participate in this meeting. And this brings also the closure of our second day of the Blockchain Community Z Days. And Denis, Konstantin, it's been a great pleasure having you with us today. I hope we'll have an opportunity to see you in future conferences as well. And for all of our participants who are watching this online, we encourage you to participate in tomorrow's and the next day's session as well. We will have many more topics presented to you during this Blockchain Z Days at EPAM. Thank you so much for today. Denis, Konstantin, thank you so much.
Thank you for
everyone.